Welcome back to Talk Tickers, the show where we help you understand these earnings calls
Yeah,
so you don't have to read it yourself.
that's right.
And today we're diving deep into Nike's Q2 2025 earnings call.
Yeah, this one's pretty interesting.
You always say that,
I do.
but I have a feeling
I think I really mean it this time.
you really mean it this time. Okay.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who maybe haven't had a chance to go through this whole thing and read it,
Yeah.
what's the top level view? How did Nike do?
Well, the headline number is that revenue dipped 8%
Okay.
to $11.59 billion.
So not great.
Not exactly what Wall Street was hoping for.
Not a slam dunk.
No.
What's driving that decline?
Well, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Nike's actually going through a pretty major strategic shift under their returning CEO, Elliott Hill.
Oh, yeah.
You might remember he retired a few years back, but he is back at the helm.
The prodigal CEO returned.
Yeah, and ready to shake things up.
Wow. So what is his game plan?
Well, he's calling it a return to being obsessed with sport.
Okay.
Hill's been on a whirlwind tour meeting with everybody, from athletes like Michael Jordan and Cristiano Ronaldo to major retailers like Foot Locker.
So he's meeting with everybody.
He's meeting with everybody.
Trying to get a feel for things.
Yeah, he's really trying to figure out where Nike needs to go from here.
So what is he hearing from these power players in the industry?
Well, he's finding that Nike needs to refocus on what made them great in the first place,
Okay.
innovation, athlete partnerships, and telling compelling stories.
Okay.
They've strayed a bit from that path recently, I think. Getting too caught up in chasing trends and, relying on, those classic styles to carry them.
So less about churning out the same old Air Force Ones and Jordans.
Yeah, exactly.
And more about pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
So how do you translate that vision into tangible results?
Well, Hill's taking a multi-pronged approach here. One key change is a restructuring of their product development teams into what they're calling fields of play.
Interesting.
Each field will be dedicated to a specific sport, like running basketball or soccer.
So instead of having one massive team designing for everything,
Right.
you'll have these smaller teams that are more niche focused.
Exactly. And within each field, you'll have further segmentation for men's, women's, and kids' products.
Oh, wow.
They're really doubling down on understanding the specific needs of each athlete, regardless of age or gender.
It's like that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
Now they can become a master of many.
Precisely.
So they're moving away from what they're calling franchise management,
Yeah.
which is relying on those few.
Yeah. Essentially relying too heavily on a few iconic product lines.
Yeah. We were talking about those Air Force Ones, the Jordans. I mean, I love a classic.
But I think it can stifle innovation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's coming down the pipeline?
We'll get ready for the Pegasus 41, a revamp of the Nike Shox.
Hold up, Nike Shox.
And the continuation of the Kobe line.
Okay.
Plus, there's buzz about the Vomero 18 and a premium version of the Pegasus in the works.
Wow. So Nike Shox, that's a
blast from the past.
that's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Didn't those have springs in the heels?
They did.
Wow.
Apparently, retro is making a comeback even in the world of athletic wear.
Interesting.
But beyond the nostalgia factor, these new releases signal a return to performance-driven innovation,
Okay.
particularly in categories like running
Yeah.
and basketball.
So they are really walking the walk
They're walking the walk.
when it comes to this obsession with sport.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the products themselves. They're also ramping up their marketing efforts to get the word out.
Yeah, Nike's always been known for those big, bold, attention-grabbing marketing campaigns.
For sure.
What can we expect to see on that front?
Well, they're doubling down on what they do best. Those big attention-grabbing campaigns that spark conversations?
Yeah.
And of course, they're continuing to dominate the world of sports partnerships.
You can't talk about Nike without talking about their partners.
Their partnerships are huge.
Yeah.
They've recently renewed deals with some major players,
Okay.
including the NBA, the WNBA, the NFL, and even the Brazil Football Confederation.
So they're really hitting every major sport.
Yeah, they're really investing heavily in connecting with athletes at every level,
I see.
but they're also rethinking their digital strategy.
Okay.
It seems like they've been relying a bit too heavily on promotional sales through their website and app.
Yeah, I feel like I get an email every day
You and everybody else.
for a Nike sale.
Yeah. Well, those days might be numbered.
Okay.
They're shifting away from that always-on sale approach and moving towards a more premium, full-price experience online.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So less about the discounts, more about
It's about rebuilding that sense of excitement and exclusivity around the brand.
I see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about the relationships with other retailers?
Right.
Have all these like direct-to-consumer efforts
Yeah.
alienated their wholesale partners?
Well, that's actually a major focus for Hill.
Okay.
He's been on a charm offensive,
Okay.
personally connecting with major retailers and promising better collaboration and a return to mutually profitable growth.
So it's like a peace treaty
Yeah, you could say that.
with Foot Locker and
Yeah.
Dick's Sporting Goods and all of that.
They're acknowledging that they need to work together to create a thriving marketplace for everyone.
I see.
But let's not forget, all these changes are happening against the backdrop of that 8% revenue dip.
Yeah, we can't ignore the financials.
Right.
What's the outlook?
Well, Matt from Nike's CFO was pretty upfront that these changes are going to have some short-term financial impact.
So lower revenue and potentially tighter margins
That's the
in
reality.
the near future.
But they're taking the long view here.
Yeah. Okay. These actions are all about building a sustainable, profitable future for Nike.
So it's like they're ripping off the Band-Aid. It's going to sting now,
Yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit.
but then you can start to heal.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've got a new CEO with a bold vision,
Yep.
some big changes on the horizon,
Yes.
a few bumps in the road ahead.
For sure.
It definitely sounds like things are about to get interesting.
It does. And you know what that means, right?
Oh, I know exactly what that means.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment,
That's right. It's time for This Is Not Financial Advice.
where we throw out some wild, totally speculative, and definitely not professional training ideas.
Based on what we just learned.
Exactly.
This is all for entertainment purposes only, folks.
Of course.
Don't forget that disclaimer.
Right.
All right, let's brainstorm.
Okay.
Given that Nike's expecting some short-term revenue dips as they clean up their inventory.
Maybe it's time to short the stock.
Whoa, hold on. There's partner shorting a giant like Nike
Yeah.
that's playing with fire.
Okay.
Remember, they've got incredible brand power, and these new product launches could really change the game.
Okay.
Plus, you never know how the market might react to these long-term changes. Shorting a stock is risky business, especially with a company like Nike.
All right. So maybe shorting's off the table.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
But what about like a long-term buy and hold strategy?
Okay,
We're talking years, maybe even decades.
sure.
Nike's a global icon. They're not going anywhere.
That's definitely a safer bet.
Yeah.
But even then, you have to be prepared for some volatility along the way.
Right.
These changes Hill is implementing, they're not going to happen overnight.
Right. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
But for a patient investor,
Yeah,
Nike could still be a solid play.
it could be.
What about focusing on like specific product categories?
Ugh.
Let's say I'm super bullish on the return of Nike Shox.
Okay.
Could I invest in like
Shox futures.
Shox futures?
I don't think those exist, my friend.
Okay.
And even if they did, that would be incredibly risky.
Right.
Investing in a single product line is like putting all your eggs in one very bouncy basket.
Okay, I'll stick to my index funds.
Probably a good idea.
But hey, it's fun to dream, right? What if there were Shox ETFs?
Shox ETFs?
We could call it the Boing Boing Index.
Now you're just getting carried away.
Okay.
But your wild ideas do raise an important point.
Okay.
This isn't just about Nike's individual performance.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the bigger picture, the overall health of the athletic apparel and footwear market.
Right. Nike's like a bellwether to
Exactly.
the entire industry.
For sure.
So what are you seeing out there? What are the trends?
It's definitely a competitive landscape out there.
Okay.
You've got established players like Adidas and Under Armour,
Yeah.
plus a whole wave of up-and-coming brands,
Right.
all vying for market share.
And you can't forget about the rise of athleisure.
Oh, yeah.
People are wearing like workout clothes everywhere these days,
Everywhere.
even if they're not working out.
It's true. The lines between athletic wear and everyday fashion are blurring more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does Nike fit into this evolving landscape?
Right.
How do they stay ahead of the curve?
Well, they have to adapt, that's for sure.
Okay.
And I think that's what Hill is trying to do with all these changes.
Yeah.
It's about reclaiming their position as the leader, the innovator, not just in terms of product, but in terms of the entire brand experience.
Right. It's not enough to just make great shoes and apparel anymore.
No, it's not.
You have to create a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, feeling and aspiration.
Exactly.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
It's about how they connect with consumers, how they tell stories, how they make you feel.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into that emotional connection that makes people choose Nike over all the other options out there.
So will these moves pay off for Nike in the long run?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And if I had a crystal ball, I'd be a very rich man.
Yeah.
But here's what I can say. Nike has all the ingredients for success.
Okay.
A powerful brand, a legacy of innovation.
They got the pedigree.
They do, but they can't rest on their laurels.
Right.
They have to stay agile, they have to listen to their customers, and they have to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of sport.
So keep that obsessed with sport mentality.
Exactly. It can't just be a slogan. It has to be baked into their DNA.
Right.
If they can do that, if they can keep that fire burning, I think they'll be just fine.
Well said. And that's the bottom line for us here at Talk Tickers. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
But one thing's for sure. Nike's journey back to the top of the athletic world is going to be an exciting ride.
It certainly will, and we'll be watching every step of the way.
Yeah, it's like watching a sporting event, but with sneakers.
With sneakers and sweatsuits.
And sweatsuits, yeah.
And marketing buckles.
And the marketing budgets, can't forget about those.
Those are
But hey, that's why we love this industry.
That's right.
Fast-paced, dynamic, always evolving.
It never gets boring.
Never gets boring, that's for sure. So for our listeners out there, this deep dive hopefully gave you some valuable insights into Nike.
Yeah, I hope so.
What's driving their strategy or where they're headed?
That's right.
We unpacked their financials.
Yeah, we did.
We dissected the new CEO's vision.
We did all that.
And we even came up with some creative trading ideas.
We did.
But as always, remember, this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
Seriously, folks, do your own research. Talk to a financial advisor.
For sure.
Don't make any rash decisions based on what you hear on this show.
We're just trying to have a little fun.
Just entertainment.
Exactly.
All right, that's it for this episode of Talk Tickers. Until next time, stay informed.
Stay curious.
And keep those earnings calls rolling in.